Blog Talk Radio.
We are here to help you. I am your host, Henry Frank. Alongside me is 20-year fantasy football veteran, the fantasy phenom, JB. As always, we are here to help you. We're going to cover all the news around the NFL, injury reports, and how that affects your team. We'll help you get ready for the playoffs. We have players to start, and as always, we'll be taking your calls all show long. You can give us a call toll-free today at 877-511-1024. If you have a Skype line, drop us a line at 347-535-402. And, of course, you can always join our kick-ass chat room right here on Blog Talk Radio. I want to welcome my sidekick. As always, it's a pleasure to have you, Mr. JB, the fantasy phenom. JB, how are you making out so far this fantasy season?
Hey man, I'm doing well. I'm middle of the road in our league, our staff league here. I'm 5-5 at the Kick-Ass League. I'm completely bombing in another league. I'm like, I think I've got 3 victories on the year. I'm like 3-7, and then in another one, I'm tied for first, and I'm actually playing the team that I'm tied for first place at this week. So for me, it's really exciting right now. So I'm looking forward making that push for the playoffs and hopefully winning some money.
Yeah, it's a great time of year. It's I know I'm real excited about it. I'm in about 5 that I am very close to. I'm either in the playoffs or I'm very close to making it. These next few weeks are pivotal, so all these games really mean something. So must-win time for a few of my teams. So I'm really looking forward to it. It makes football a whole heck of a lot more exciting than just being an Eagles fan, which unfortunately I am. So
that's a rough task this year, very rough task.
It really is. Hey, we have a big exciting announcement for those of our listeners in the New Jersey area, the South Jersey area. Actually, our title sponsor, the Piccoli Inn, is giving 25 free wings today, calling into our show. So all you got to do is call in at 877-511-1024, and we'll give you a secret password when you go to the Pick. You'll ask for Everett, our favorite fantasy bartender at the Pick, and he'll hook you up with 25 free wings. It's a great deal because those wings are world-class wings. They got ice-cold beer, all kinds of drink specials, and it's the best place to watch a game. They got all the games done with DirecTV, so no matter what kind of fan you are, if you're like us, fantasy fans, you want to see all the games you want to, that's the place to go. So, matter of fact, the professor will be out there today for the 1 o'clock games, and he's there to eat some wings, drink some beer, and talk fantasy football. So, great time to go out to the Piccoli Inn on Route 206 in Chemung, New Jersey. So,
yeah, you can see him.
Stuff.
He'll be there today wearing a Ravens jersey. Feel free to spill a beer on him if you like. And he'll also be wearing his professor hat. So, being a Steelers fan today, the last thing I want to see is the color purple. So, and I don't mean the movie, although I don't want to watch that either.
Right. Yeah, he's just the professor. His one of his team's name is Big Show, which emulates Big Show from wrestling. So he's really very tall sort of a gentleman. So great guy, great fantasy guy. So head out to the Pick, ask for the professor, and he'll hook you up with some great fantasy advice. All right, there, fantasy phenom. We have to get into some of our injuries. A lot of injuries today. Big name players too. Why don't you start us off?
Sure, I'm going to start with Alex Smith. He practiced this week, but it's not a good play against the Bears defense, and with a rattled head, his head rattling could continue today.
Your beloved Steelers quarterback, Big Ben, is out with badly bruised ribs. Look for Byron Leftwich to carry the load today.
Yeah, they say Michael Vick will be rested for the remainder of the season after his concussion. So Nick Folks gets the start, and Vick's going to be resting.
Yes, resting. He'll be resting with Eli Manning's tired arm, by the way. Very nice. Okay.
Yeah, there you go.
looks like Jay Cutler out with a concussion today. Jason Campbell will take the reins Monday night versus the 49ers.
Okay, Brady Quinn was held out in Week 10 due to his concussion. I love the way this league is protecting these players' heads. But he said he'd be cleared to play for Week 11, but no one cared.
Yeah. Hey, here's a surprise. Ryan Matthews, questionable today with a neck injury. I look for him to enroll if he goes today.
Looks like Fred Jackson, you guessed it, has a concussion, and he won't play. But we already know that because we saw the we saw the game a couple of nights ago. But for those of us, if this game was retro and held three days ago, then that may actually mean something.
Okay. DeMarco Murray is trying to return this week, but I looked into my Magic 8-Ball, and it said try harder next week. He's officially doubtful.
Right, Darren McFadden and Mike Goodson are both ruled out of today's game, so look for Marcel Reese to carry the load again today against the Saints.
Stuff. I got Reese as a nice sleeper pick today. That's good stuff. Darren Sproles has swelling in the broken hand after returning to practice this week and is listed as questionable today.
Ding, 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 ding. Rashard Mendenhall is back and will start for the Steelers tonight versus the Ravens. We need him.
Right.
Yeah.
Finally a real running back for the Steelers. That's good stuff. DHB, game time decision today with a tweaked hamstring. That's a shame. That's a great matchup he's got against the Saints, too.
So DHB is a GTD? All right.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
All right. I like it. All right. Aaron Hernandez is to sit a week with his nagging ankle injury.
Okay. I got Pierre Garçon, very optimistic he will play today versus the Eagles since he feels the foot just isn't getting any better. It's a matter of how much pain he can play through.
All right. It looks like Owen Daniels will be a game-time decision today versus the Jaguars after sitting out the last week with his back injury.
Okay, and Jets wide receiver Jeremy Curley listed as questionable with a hamstring and heel injury. So I like Dustin Keller to be the big target of that game.
All right. And Julio Jones looks like a game-down decision with an ankle injury. He suffered last week versus the Saints, but I'm pretty sure he's going to play today. I think he came back into that game after he suffered that injury last week.
Yes, he did. So we'll see how it goes, but definitely watch that injury report because if he doesn't go, I think they'll look to Harry Douglas to get in there. Finally, we have Mike Ditka hospitalized with a minor stroke. Our thoughts and prayers go out to him and his family. Ditka.
The best.
All right. That's the report brought to you by FantasyPlayerExchange.com, the to go report daily fantasy. Sign up right now and play against our very own me, Henry Crack in the Beat the Commish game. Every new account gets $10 credit, and it's only $2 to play each week. If you beat me the commish by the largest margin, you get $50, and that's every week. At season's end, the person beating me by the largest margin gets $1,000. So sign up today at FantasyPlayerExchange.com.
That's better odds than any lottery they have out there. $2 for a chance to win $1,000, and it's not a 1,000,000 to 1 shot. So. Absolutely. Plus, it's a great way it's a fun game and great way to get yourself familiar with the website. And there's plenty of different opportunities, plenty of different ways to play fantasy. They've got a whole different spin on it. And check it out. And for $2, what the hell?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I'm really becoming addicted, big time, for this game. When I first started, I probably didn't get it. It's a little bit of it's a stock exchange sort of way. Every player has a sort of a stock value, and the better he performs, the stock goes up, and that's sort of how you earn your points. So I love it. I play about 5 to 6 games a week now in there. Matter of fact, in the Beat the Commish game, our very own Ray Jaffe, the judge, who does our Tuesday night show right here on Blog Talk Radio with Jumpin' John Prevo at 9 o'clock every Tuesday, beat me. Third time this season he's beat me, so he's already up $150. So good for you, Judge Ray Jaffe. So, yes, I'll tell you what, I haven't come in first yet. I've come in second about 7 or 8 times. So the money is there, $50 just for signing up. And if you sign up, you open up an account, you get 10 free bucks. So
Well, maybe if
basically,
we actually liked Everett a little more, it would be beat the Judge game, and then like maybe we could save some money for Everett. But he's writing out them $50 checks every time they beat you. So
I'm sure next season that's what's going to happen. It's going to be, Commish, we love you, but they're going to.
That's awesome.
That's good stuff. Okay, so I want to throw out, I challenge everybody, all our listeners, to play today. The Beat the Commish game, and just all you got to do is go to fantasyplayerexchange.com, or you can go to our website at kickassfantasyfootball.com. It's right on the page. You'll see the Beat the Commish game. Just click on that, open up an account, and you get $10 free right in your account. So it's really good stuff. So the challenge has been issued. When we come back, we will open up the phone lines and start taking your last-minute lineup questions. You can give us a call toll-free at 877-511-1024. If you have a Skype line, drop us a line. 347-539-5402. And, of course, you can always hit us up in our Kick-Ass chat room. You're listening to the Pickle-Lillian Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Car Toys, the most innovative car customizing shop in its class. Summer is here, and so's the heat. Better get that remote start so you can cool off in your car in style with your smartphone. Car Toys can install remote start on Mercedes-Benz, push-button start, and stick shift. Reduce that glare with the best 3M window film. And while you're at it, get your car detailed by Car Toys Detail Department so your ride looks, feels, and smells brand new. Car Toys defines what everything for your car really means, from TV to reality. That's why Car Toys is the leader in the industry in car customization. Car Toys' knowledgeable team are the best in their class. Like Car Toys on Facebook and check them out at distinctivecartoys.com.
Fantasy Football, the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Join the Professor, the Commish, and Fantasy Insider Matt Lowry for the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Got a question? Call us. Who should you start? Who should you trade? Who's great? And who just plain The Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. On the web at kickassfantasyfootball.com. Yeah, kickassfantasyfootball.com. And every Sunday at 9 a.m.
I felt that one way up here.
Right here on 97.3 ESPN.
We're famous for our buffalo wings. The Piccalilli. When it comes to cooking wings, we're the king. The Piccalilli. Pull up a chair, grab a table, enjoy the atmosphere. Have something good to eat or have yourself around here. If you can't stop in, stop back. Great food, great drinks where everybody is a friend. If you can't stop in, stop back. The Piccalillian.
It isn't fall without the famous Piccalilli Inn. Catch all of your favorite football action at the Piccalilli Inn. Check out the Pick's brand new menu featuring homemade buffalo chicken egg rolls, buffalo shrimp, scallops, and the tender Pick burger. They go great with one of the Pick's ice-cold on-tap beers. Catch every football game at the Pick. Enjoy an awesome meal while you watch your favorite team. The Piccalilli Inn, a Jersey tradition since the 1920s. On Route 206 in Chemong. If you can't stop in, stop back.
The Piccalilli Inn.
Welcome back to the Pickle-Lillian Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Henry the Commish. Alongside me is one of your fantasy football veterans, the Fantasy Phenom, JB. I want to remind you to check out our website at kickassfantasyfootball.com. Sign up today using promo code FANTASY and get 50% off our regular subscription rate. We're going to open up the phone lines now and give us a call toll-free 877-511-1024. We have a Skype line, capital line 347-539-5402. Of course, we'll send us up in our Kick-Ass chat room right here on Blog Talk Radio. JB, we're going to go to our chat room right now. We got Patrick, one of our regular listeners to the show. They have a question. Hi, guys. Need two from the following. McGahee, Jordy Nelson, Brandon Marshall, and it's a 1-point PPR lead. Looks like they need two.
Well, I only heard about half that. I'm sorry, Commissioner. You were motorboating there a little bit.
Breaking up there?
Yeah, sorry about that. I heard McGahee, and I think that's about it.
Jordy Nelson, Brandon Marshall.
Jordy Nelson and Brandon Marshall. Well,
and it is a PPR league.
It's a good problem to have here. The Jordy Nelson thing, I was a little bit worried about. I don't know how he's coming along. I know he was a little dinged up, but it looks like he's going to go. And if they're confident in him playing we should be as well. The PPR aspect, man, Brandon Marshall scares me a little bit with Cutler being out, but out of the three of them, I think I'm going to have to stick with. I got to get the running back in there. I like what McGahee's been doing. I'm going to stick with McGahee, and I think I'm going to stick with Nelson on this one.
Okay. I'm going to agree with you on McGahee. I think he's got a great matchup today. He does catch the ball very well out of the backfield. Definitely like McGahee, but I'm going to go with Marshall instead of Nelson because, like you said, JB, he is coming back from that injury. I don't know how many snaps he's going to get, although great matchup against Detroit. I do like Marshall only because even with Cutler out last week, bringing in Jason Campbell, he did have 13 targets. So I'm going to go Marshall on that one. I'm not going to shy away. Plus, that game is on Monday night on the road, and they're going to have to throw the ball a lot against San Fran, which you can do. So you got a split decision on between Jordy and Nelson there, Padgett fan, but we both agree on Willis McGahee. So there you go. Thanks for the question. Keep them rolling in right here in our Kick-Ass chat room. You guys are the best. You always come up with the great questions for us. All right, JB, it's time for a segment that we like to call the Dude, I'm Sorry segment. This is where there's a chance to tell our listeners something we talked about last week that maybe we didn't get exactly right, and it's time to fess up. Is there anything you got wrong last week that you'd like to tell us about?
Yeah, my basically my entire stud, dud, and sleeper segment. If anybody listened to it last week, man, I mean I was just off all around during that. I had Doug Martin as my stud last week. Now he did put up 119 combined yards, but he didn't get pay dirt, didn't see the touchdown, and that's going to suffer, especially when you're touting somebody as an absolute stud. He really underperformed there. Also, Jamal Charles against my beloved Steelers. I really thought that he was going to suffer and have a bad day, and boy, did he prove me wrong. Jamal Charles, he broke out with a 100-yard game and a touchdown. So, dud he was not. And then Jerome Simpson, I gave everybody as my sleeper of the week. I thought with Percy Harvin being out, he would see a little more action. I figured he'd sneak in and do something. He amassed a whopping 28 yards. So, dude, I am sorry. If you listen to that segment, as I'm sure a lot of you do at the end of our program, man, I bombed all the way around last week.
All right. You know what? I'm feeling with you there, JB. I'm really sorry about some advice I gave one of our callers last week right here on Blog Talk Radio. They asked me, who should I start, Gresham or Olsen? I, of course, had Gresham listed a little higher than Olsen. He did get a touchdown, but only had 15 yards receiving, where Olsen clearly had the better day with 9 catches, 102 yards, 2 touchdowns. For that, dude, I'm sorry. All right, well, that's enough feeling sorry about ourselves, JB. Who did we really slam dunk and get right last week?
I don't know. I got nothing.
You got nothing?
I got nothing. I was very disappointed last week. I was so hyped up over my stud, duds, and sleepers last week. I was feeling great. I mean, we gave a lot of good advice last week, a lot of our Pick Lily picks of the week, that we gave.
Yeah, I mean,
but when I was...
You did get Lynch right last week. Torrey Smith, Matt Stafford, you named some decent plays there last week. So, I know you're still sorry about some of the studs, duds, and sleepers, but you did nail some Pick Lily picks.
No, absolutely.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm pretty happy with some of the picks I made. I love Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates last week. Rivers gave us 337 yards, 2 TDs, while Gates went off with 4 catches, 57 yards, and a touchdown. But I'm really the man when it came to my stud, dud, and sleeper of the week last week. I stated on this very show that Matt Ryan, my stud of the week, should get 350 yards and 3 touchdowns. Well, I was wrong. He got 411 yards and 3 touchdowns. My dud of the week, Matt Schaub, amassed only 95 yards and a TD. I nailed that. And, of course, my sleeper pick last week was Marcel Reese. He had 48 rushing yards, 7 catches for 56. In PPR leagues, that was just huge play and a great sleeper pick. Wait to hear who I have for you later in the show. Yes, I'm the man. All right, well, the show That's pretty good stuff, JB. We have a lot of to get to. We're going to get to our Pickle's Picks of the Week right after a word from our sponsors.
Fantasy football owners, it's draft time, and KickassFantasyFootball.com makes it easy.
How do we make it easy?
Projections from the experts, cheat sheets with your scoring rules.
What else?
Articles all season long, waiver wire picks, trade advice, everything you need to win a championship.
How about a free judgment from FantasyJudgment.com, a $15 value?
Now we're talking.
Subscribe today for just $9.95. We'll throw in a complimentary cruise for two to the Bahamas.
Cruise to a championship with KickassFantasyFootball.com.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Car Toys, the most innovative car customizing shop in its class. Summer is here, and so's the heat. Better get that remote start so you can cool off in your car in style with your smartphone. Car Toys can install remote start on Mercedes-Benz, push-button start, and stick shift. Reduce that glare with the best 3M window film. And while you're at it, get your car detailed by Car Toys Detail Department so your ride looks, feels, and smells brand new. Car Toys defines what everything for your car really means, from TV to reality. That's why Car Toys is the leader in the industry in car customization. Car Toys' knowledgeable team are the best in their class. Like Car Toys on Facebook and check them out at distinctivecartoys.com.
Fantasy Football, the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Join the Professor, the Commish, and Fantasy Insider Matt Lowry for the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Got a question? Call us. Who should you start? Who should you trade? Who's great? And who just plain The Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. On the web at KickassFantasyFootball.com. Yeah, KickassFantasyFootball.com. And every Sunday at 9 a.m.
I felt that one way up here.
Right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Pickle's Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Henry the Commish Brick. Alongside me is Fantasy Phenom, JB. Right before we get into our Pickle's Picks of the Week, I want to let everybody know you can give us a call toll-free with any last-minute lineup questions at 877-511-1024. If you have a Skype line, you feel free to drop us a line at 347-539-5402. Of course, you can always hit us right up in our Kick-Ass chat room. Let's go to our phone lines now. We got Jersey in the house. Welcome to the show, my friend. What's your question?
Hey, I'm in a 10-team PPR league, man. I need a wide receiver 2, a running back 2, and a flex out of the following 5 guys.
Okay.
I have Forte, Sproles, Hayward Bay, Brandon Lloyd, and Jeremy Maclin.
Forte, Sproles, DHB, Maclin, and who else?
Brandon Lloyd.
And Lloyd, okay. And you need how many? Two out of these 5?
I need 3 of them.
3 of them, okay.
Running back 2, wide receiver 2, and a flex.
All right. I like Forte here quite a bit. I actually have him in 3 of my leagues. Is it a PPR league?
Yeah, 10-team PPR.
Yeah. Forte Monday night, I think, could do well against San Fran. Teams have been running the ball actually pretty well against San Fran lately. It's definitely not the same defense as last year. I think that's a definite. Maclin has a decent matchup. However, I think the bigger beneficiary in today's game is going to be Deshaun. I really like DHB a little bit better, but you got to watch that injury report up until 1 because he tweaked that hamstring and he's become a game time decision. Sproles I don't like only because he's got the swelling in the hand. He did come back to practice, and if he does play, they're talking about using him in special teams mostly. So I would have to eliminate him. You got to go Brandon Lloyd here, Forte, and then of the 2, I'd probably, if DHB plays, I'd go with him, and if obviously you can't, then you got to go Maclin. JB.
Yeah, no, I totally agree 100%. Sproles I have in a couple of leagues, and I'm actually benching him this week. I didn't take the chance. I went and I looked for other options. So out of these 5, to me, Sproles is out of the question. Forte's great. He does have a good matchup. I know you think of that stout 49ers defense, but as stated, he has been run on. They have been run on this year. DHB, I just think that game has the makings for an absolute shootout between New Orleans and and the Oakland Raiders today. And everybody on the field is going to be the beneficiary of that. So if DHB plays, you've got to get him in there. And I don't know, between Macklin and Lloyd, it seems to me like Lloyd, they don't use them as much as they should. I mean, they've got those two big tight ends. The running game's been coming on there in New England. So, like, Lloyd, to me, especially in a PPR situation, he doesn't seem to get that many opportunities. I think, me personally, I would take the flyer and go with Macklin. So I would go Forte, DHB, and Macklin if this was the roster I was looking at today.
All right, there you go. All right, that helps you out. Thanks so much for the call. And please have good luck today. And if you need any more info, just feel free to check out our website at kickassfantasyfootball.com. We give you all the up-to-date projections, injury reports, everything you need to help win a chain. All right.
And stop down the pick today for calling in. You're eligible for if you're, I don't know where you're at in New Jersey, but if you're anywhere near Chemung, you can stop in to Pick a Lily Inn today and get 25 free wings just for calling into the show today.
That's right. Just ask for Everett, the fantasy bartender, and tell him the commission sent you. All right?
All right.
All right, man. Thanks for the call.
Thanks for the call.
All right, JB, it's now time to get into our Pick-a-Lily's picks of the week. Who do you have at the quarterback position?
Quarterback, I'm starting off with Tony Romo. He's at home versus a Cleveland team that gives up a ton of yards. They also give up a ton of TDs to opposing quarterbacks, and I look for him to kind of rebound a little bit. He hasn't been doing too well as of late, but I expect big things out of Romo today.
Okay. I'm going Matt Stafford versus Green Bay. Green Bay's secondary absolutely horrendous, and he's really connecting with all his receivers right now, so he's a great play if you need him.
Okay, I also have, in the game we just talked about, I have Carson Palmer versus New Orleans today. Palmer will be facing the worst fantasy defense in the league. He also scores he's only scored less than 14 points once this year, which occurred all the way back in Week 4. With the running backs Darren McFadden and Mike Goodson not playing this week, Palmer will have no choice but to air it out.
I got Andrew Luck versus the Pats. New England giving up over 300 yards passing per game, so make sure you keep him in your lineup today.
Actually, this week I also have Cam Newton. Newton had one of his only 2 300-yard passing games this year versus Tampa way back in Week 1, and he now faces a Bucs defense that has allowed almost 1,400 passing yards and 12 touchdowns over its last 4 games. And it also appears... Yeah, and Carolina, it appears, has no interest in establishing a run game. So look for Cam to keep it going.
All right, I got Andy Dalton versus the Chiefs. Well, there really isn't a running game there, so pass away Andy. Casey can be turned on.
All right.
Let's move on to the tight end position. Who do you got at tight end?
Well, tight end today, I've got Antonio Gates. You know, after not scoring a touchdown in the Chargers' first 5 games of the season, Gates has found the end zone 4 times in their last 4 games. So he's really come on as of late, and I don't see that stopping again. You know, today against Denver, who gives up a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns to the tight end.
All right, I got Dustin Keller versus the St. Louis Rams. They give up the 4th most fantasy points to the tight end, and there's real number 1 legit target, especially with Curley out or questionable today.
Okay, I also have Brent Selleck. Now, this is more of about an opportunity, as Selleck has a matchup against the second worst team in fantasy when it comes to defending the tight end. And if it's truly, true that a tight end is a rookie quarterback's best friend, well, maybe he'll get some opportunistic looks today as well.
All right, Dennis Pitta versus the Steelers. Nothing scary about the Steelers' defense anymore, and he's connecting well again with Flacco.
Nothing scary. Oh, never. I'll let that slide for this segment. I've got how about Dwayne Allen against New England this week with Coby Fleener expected. He's still dinged up. I think he's not playing this week again. So with him sneaking in there against this Patriots defense that has been very generous to opposing tight ends, and he had a 6-catch, 70-yard effort, I believe, last week. So look for Dwayne Allen to continue.
Okay. And I'm thinking really deep here at the tight end position. How about Logan Paulson, tight end for the Washington Redskins, going up against the Birds. Birds pretty much cannot stop any tight end they've faced this season. So Logan Paulson should get it done today versus the Birds. All right. That's the tight ends. When we come back, we're going to get keep the phone lines going at 877-511-1024. Call us if you need any last-minute lineup help. We will also finish up our Piccoli's Picks of the Week. You're listening to the Piccoli Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show.
We're famous for our buffalo wings. The Piccoli. When it comes to cooking wings, we're the king. The Piccoli. Pull up a chair, grab a table, enjoy the atmosphere. Have something good to eat or have yourself around here. If you can't stop in, stop back. Great food, great treats where everybody is a friend. If you can't stop in, stop back. The Piccoli.
It isn't fall without the famous Piccalilli Inn. Catch all of your favorite football action at the Piccalilli Inn. Check out the Pick's brand new menu featuring homemade buffalo chicken egg rolls, buffalo shrimp, scallops, and the tender Pick burger. They go great with one of the Pick's ice-cold on-tap beers. Catch every football game at the Pick. Enjoy an awesome meal while you watch your favorite team. The Piccalilli Inn, a Jersey tradition since the 1920s. On Route 206 in Chemung. If you can't stop in, stop back.
The Piccalilli Inn.
Don't let your fantasy issues become a reality. Fantasy Judgment is the premier dispute resolution service for all fantasy sports leagues. Led by attorney Michael Stein, the Supreme Court of Fantasy Judgment will resolve any and all issues or conflicts that arise in fantasy leagues. This includes disputed trades, collusion, abuse of power by league commissioners, lineup and roster errors, draft issues, score discrepancies, and interpretation of league rules. We alleviate the burden for league commissioners and allow everyone to focus on winning their leagues rather than arguing over disputes. Visit www.fantasyjudgment.com.
Now is your chance to experience the new game that's transforming fantasy sports. Fantasy Player Exchange is a new daily game that allows you to compete against friends and fantasy foes for cash prizes. With FPX, you can select 5 players from any active sport. Sign up now at fantasyplayerexchange.com for your chance to beat ESPN Radio's Henry the Commish Brick and win $1,000 cash. Go to fantasyplayerexchange.com to sign up and play today. Remember, that's fantasyplayerexchange.com.
Fantasy Football, the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Every Sunday morning at 9 a.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Join the Professor, the Commish, and Fantasy Insider Matt Lowry for the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. Got a question? Call us. Who should you start? Who should you trade? Who's great? And who just plain The Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. On the web at kickassfantasyfootball.com. Yeah, kickassfantasyfootball.com. And every Sunday at 9 a.m.
I felt that one way up here.
Right here on 97.3 ESPN.
Welcome back to the Piccoli Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. I'm your host, Henry the Commish Brick. Alongside me, the fantasy phenom, JB. And we're doing what we love to do. That's talk fantasy football.
Amen.
All right, JB, let's finish up our Piccoli's Picks of the Week at wide receiver. Who do you got?
Well, wide receiver this week, I really like Lance Moore. This is a game that I've already mentioned. I expect it to be a really big shootout game, and he's been looking good as of late. And I really think they're going to have to just keep the ball in the air to maintain pace with the Raiders today. And I look for Lance Moore to be one of the recipients of said.
All right, I got Danny Amendola versus the Jets. He's back, and he had 11 catches on 12 targets last week. Should be similar numbers this week.
Well, I already told you that I like Tony Romo today, and one of the recipients there, I believe, will be Dez Bryant. The Browns have only held opposing wide receivers under 100 yards only once the entire season. Now, while Bryant's only scored 3 touchdowns all season, the talk this week has been how much he's progressing as a football player. So, look for Dez Bryant to have maybe a breakout game.
All right, that goes along with your Tony Romo pick earlier in the show. Like it. I like Steve Smith versus Tampa Bay. I know you were mentioning Cam Newton earlier in the show. I like Steve Smith should have a huge game against a really bad secondary with Tampa Bay, and he is due.
Yeah, well, I can't seem to stay away from this game. I like Denarius Moore today. New Orleans, Moore has scored a touchdown in 5 out of his last 7 games, and this week he gets a matchup with the Saints that, basically have the worst pass defense in the league. So Denarius Moore looked to have a monstrous day today.
You know what? I like that pick as well. I also like DHB on the other side. As long as he's going today, you got to play him against the Saints because Palmer will have to pass a lot, especially with that run DMC. Saints will get up quick, which will cause Palmer to really have to get the ball downfield. So good stuff. All right, let's move on to the running backs, JB. I'll start us off. I got running back Alfred Morris versus the Birds give up the 6th most fantasy points to the running back. Look for Morris to be a big factor in this one.
I got Steven Jackson versus the Jets today. Jackson topped 20 carries for the first time since week 1 last week, and he converted that into his first 100-yard effort of the season, and that was versus the 49ers defense, which the Jets are not. So if that's any indication of Jackson moving forward, then I'm sticking with him and I'm riding him this week.
Okay. I got Sean Green, Rams. My main crush is back this week. Not a scary matchup, as he should run the ball well versus this very soft defense.
Well, I also got Doug Martin. Now, he was my stud last week, and, he disappointed me a little with his performance, but I still like him, and I still like him a lot against this Panthers defense. But I had to downgrade him just a little bit from that stud status I gave him last week, but he's still a strong play.
All right, Jacquizz Rodgers versus Arizona. They give up the 9th most fantasy points to the running back, and it seems he'll be getting it done, especially over Turner, where I believe the wheels have fallen off, and we're going to see the new start of the Jacquizz era today.
Okay, I like Joqui. Is it Joqui Bell in Detroit? No, I think this game is going to be a shootout, and Bell's the preferred option at running back for the Lions when they get into that passing mode, especially for those in the PPR leagues. He's definitely worth at least a flex spot this week.
All right. Well, there you go. That's our picks of the week. You can check this out and much more with all our projections, all up to date with the injury reports, players to trade for, some great articles right on our website at kickassfantasyfootball.com. If you subscribe today, use the promo code FANTASY and get 50% off a regular subscription rate. kickassfantasyfootball.com. We're a site to help lead you to a championship. All right, JB, it's another bye week this week. We got 4 teams on a bye. The Titans, Vikings, Giants, and Seahawks. So let's talk about some guys that make sure we remind our listeners who to bench this week due to the bye week.
Well, I like the New York game stands out to me. I mean, for the running back reasons, obviously, with Brownshaw and Brown, but and then also with Cruz and Nix, there's some very serious players there. Now, I know a lot of people probably drafted Eli and were expecting big expectations out of him this year, but to put him on your bench, if he's not already on your bench after not throwing a touchdown for the past 3 games, then you've already got bigger problems. But make sure you get all those Giants out of your lineup today. Seattle is one that's pretty interesting to me because of Marshawn Lynch. He has been awesome this year. He's a guy that I targeted in a lot of my drafts. I own him in all 3 of my leagues, I believe. And the guy's just awesome. And, make sure that you don't make a mistake and leave him in there, and because he's not going to do anything for you today.
Okay. And then, of course, we mentioned the Titans, the recent good play of Chris Johnson, definitely notable, but he is on a bye this week. Make sure you get him to your bench. Maybe some fantasy players are going to have Kenny Britt, Nate Washington. Make sure they are also benched. I mean, I don't know how many fantasy owners have Jake Locke or Jared Cook, but if you do, make sure you put them on the bench this week. They are on a bye. And, of course, we can't mention Vikings and not say Adrian Peterson, right? I mean, the showing of the season, I think, coming back from that ACL, MCL, last year. The guy's really doing an amazing job, is on a bye this week, so make sure you got him on your bench. Percy Harvin, who's been also lighting it up very well, off this week, along with Kyle Rudolph, Christian Ponder. So make sure you get all these guys that are on a bye on the bench, so that what we're going to do is we're going to talk about our reaches of the week, hopefully give you a couple guys so that you can plug in the event you have some of these guys that are not playing this week. And speaking of the reaches of the week, JB, who is your reach of the week?
Now, this is a reach, and it may also be because I'm a Steelers fan. But I am going to say, with the bye weeks out there and people may have some quarterback trouble, Byron Leftwich, let's face it, guys, he's not a rookie. The guy knows this offense well. last week you can throw away aside what happened last week when he was forced to come into the game. He didn't take any of the first team snaps. He didn't go over the game plan for the week. So, this week they know he's starting. He's had a full week to work with this crew, and I expect the Steelers to come out and stick to their game plan. And as anyone knows, this year they throw the ball a heck of a lot more than they have in years past.
Okay. I got a decent reach for everyone this week. Nick Foles versus Washington. Yes, it's his first start. Yes, bad line. But the shortened playbook for him did impress me last week. And Washington's secondary absolutely stinks. So great reach play if you need him here with, with Eli off, if you had Christian Ponder, God forbid you had Jake Locker or Russell Wilson. But decent plug-in if you need him.
Another reach of the week, a backup running back to Arian Foster would be Ben Tate. Now, the last time they got to play the Jags, he kind of went off a little bit. He had about a 100-yard day. He had a couple of touchdowns. I don't know if you're going to get that out of him, but the Jags do stink, and I expect the Texans to have a hold on this game early. So maybe in the second half, maybe they can rest Foster up a little bit, give Tate the ball, and he may have one of those breakout games.
Yeah, I like Tate in the downstretch here, figuring that Houston's going to sew things up pretty early, too. So Tate's definitely a guy you want to hold on, especially for the playoff run. Okay, so there you go. There's your reaches of the week, and you can check this information out and much more. You can go to our website at kickassfantasyfootball.com. We got all the up-to-date projections, injury reports, everything you need to help win a championship. JB, I want to go back to the chat room right now. We got a chat question here. This is from One for the Money. Okay. They ask us, who do you like better this week as a start, Andrew Luck or Nick Foles? Wow. Okay.
Well, I'm going to stick with Luck. I mean, granted they're both rookies, but Luck certainly isn't playing like one, and he has the 10 games experience already under his belt, where I feel Foles is going to be, kind of thrown to the wolves this week. We all know about that weak offensive line. He may not be standing upright by the end of this game. Luck against that the New England defense, I think he's going to find plenty of opportunity, and he's going to make some plays today.
Okay, very good. We actually had that same question in our ESPN show earlier today, which is interesting too. All right, next segment we have to talk about, JB, is our over-under segment, a player and some yardage, some stats here, and you just let us know what you think if they go over or under that. This gives us an opportunity to talk about some players that we normally don't get to talk about on the show, some big-name players, because, of course, here at the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show, we like to dig deep and give you the players that may not be on the tip of everyone's tongue. But this gives us a player to talk about the big name players. So I'm going to start us off at the quarterback position, JB, and we're going to go Aaron Rodgers versus Detroit. 275 yards, 3 touchdowns. What do you think, over or under?
I'm going to go over with Rodgers today versus Detroit. I think coming off of bye week and the whole division rivalry thing going on here, and he's got with Cobb and with Nelson, I think he's going to have plenty of room to throw the ball today.
Okay, I'm going to go over on that myself. I think I like the touchdowns. I just think he can actually get a few more yards than 275 if he can get to that 300. Okay, next up we got is Tom Brady versus the Colts. 250 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Well, this game's it's another one. It's got the makings for a shootout. I like the yardage. I think he'll do well. The touchdowns, I'm going to dial them back a bit. I think that actually I kind of like Stephen Ridley today a lot. So I'm going to give him 300 yards, 2 touchdowns. So I'm kind of split.
Okay. Let's go to the next quarterback. Drew Brees versus the Oakland Raiders. 295, 3 touchdowns.
I'm going over all the way. This game, to me, if you've got anybody who's fantasy-worthy on either of those two teams today, you've got to get them in your lineup. This game could just be an absolute blowout. It could be like a college score.
Okay, and last quarterback we got on the list, Peyton Manning versus the Chargers, 285 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Again, I'm kind of split on this one. I like them for the yardage. The touchdowns, I don't know. I think McGahee may have something to say about that.
Okay. I actually agree with you on that one. Let's go on to the receiver position. Reggie Wayne versus the Pats. 8 catches for 105 yards and 1 TD.
Well, they're going to have to look for somebody to do it. And like I said, this game could be another shootout game. So he's their number one man there. A 100-yard game and a touchdown seems very feasible. I'll give him the over.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Megatron versus the Packers. 8 catches for $120 and a touchdown.
Well, here's another one I'm split on. I mean, I wouldn't surprise me if he had 10 catches for 200 yards, much like he did last year. But it's been hard for him to get into the end zone this year for whatever reason. So until I see more end zone productivity out of him, I can't give him the nod on the touchdown.
Okay. That's a fair statement. How about A.J. Green versus the Chiefs? 8 catches, 107 yards, 1 touchdown.
Yeah, that's definitely attainable for him. This he's one of the best receivers in the whole league right now. And Kansas City, I don't think they have any way to stop him whatsoever. I think he may shatter those numbers today.
Wow. Okay. Good stuff. All right, and then last receiver, Wes Welker versus the Colts. 7 catches, 107 yards, 1 touchdown.
God, I hope that's true. I have him in 2 leagues, so I'm a little biased. This may be more of a hope than any actual true logic. I need that out of him today, so I'm going to give him the nod on the over.
All right, let's move on to the running back position. Aaron Foster versus the Jags, 110 yards and a touchdown.
You know what? Again, as long as he stays in the game, of course he's going to reach those goals. If this game gets way out of hand by the first half and they do seem to rest him up a little bit in the second half, that's the only way he will not achieve those goals today. Other than that, that's a stone cold lock for an over.
All right, and Ray Rice versus your beloved Pittsburgh Steelers, 107 yards and a touchdown.
Under. Even though we're still the number 1 ranked overall defense, for what you were saying a little earlier in the show, we're still number 1 overall against the pass. And believe it or not, we're still number 5 against the run. We only average 94 yards a game on the ground is what we're giving up. So if anybody could do it, it would be Ray Rice, but I'm sticking with my guys. I'm sticking with our stats. It's a home game, and this is our Super Bowl every year. I think they're going to come up big. They're at home. It's the primetime game tonight, and I say they stuff Ray Rice.
All right. That's good stuff. These two teams do know each other well. I absolutely agree with you on that, JB. Doug Martin versus the Carolina Panthers, 110 yards and a touchdown.
Well, like I said, he was one of my Piccalilli picks of the week. I love Martin today against this Carolina team, and like I said, last week he had 120 yards. He just didn't see the end zone, but I think he'll have no problem finding the end zone this week. I'll give him the over.
All right, and the last but not least, LaShawn McCoy versus the Redskins, 111 yards and a touchdown.
You know what? Andy Reid may finally be forced to actually feed this guy the ball in this game. I don't know how confident he is in Nick Foles, while Michael Vick is, how did they put it, resting for possibly the rest of the season. McCoy is an outstanding running back, and hopefully he's able to showcase him a little bit for not only today, but hopefully for the rest of the year. So with that being said, I think he goes over.
All right, there you go. That's your over-under segment. That's we bring that to you every week right here at 11 o'clock on the Blog Talk Radio Show. You can catch me and JB. We talk to you for an hour, giving you all the latest news and information to help you set your lineup, to help you win your game each week here on the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show. All right, when we come back, we're going to get into our studs, and sleepers. You're listening to the Kick-Ass Fantasy Football Show.
Fantasy football owners, it's draft time, and KickassFantasyFootball.com makes it easy.
How do we make it easy?
Projections from the experts, cheat sheets with your scoring rules.
What else?
Articles all season long, waiver wire picks, trade advice, everything you need to win a championship.
How about a free judgment from FantasyJudgment.com, a $15 value?
Now we're talking.
Subscribe today for just $9.95. We'll throw in a complimentary cruise for 2 to the Bahamas.
Cruise to a championship with KickassFantasyFootball.com.
I'm sexy and I know it.
Car Toys, the most innovative car customizing shop in its class. Summer is here, and so's the heat. Better get that remote start so you can cool off in your car in style with your smartphone. Car Toys can install remote start on Mercedes-Benz, push-button start, and stick shift. Reduce that glare with the best 3M window film. And while you're at it, get your car detailed by Car Toys Detail Department so your ride looks, feels, and smells brand new. Car Toys defines what everything for your car really means, from TV to reality. That's why Car Toys is the leader in the industry in car customization. Car Toys' knowledgeable team are the best in their class. Like Car Toys on Facebook and check them out at distinctivecartoys.com.
We're famous for our buffalo wings. The Piccalilli. When it comes to cooking wings, we're the king. The Piccalilli. Pull up a chair, grab a table, enjoy the atmosphere. Have something good to eat or have yourself around here. If you can't stop in, stop back. Great food, great drinks where everybody is a friend. If you can't stop in, stop back. The Piccalilli Inn.
It isn't fall without the famous Piccalilli Inn. Catch all of your favorite football action at the Piccalilli Inn. Check out the Pick's brand new menu featuring homemade buffalo chicken egg rolls, buffalo shrimp, scallops, and the tender Pick burger. They go great with one of the Pick's ice-cold on-tap beers. Catch every football game at the Pick. Enjoy an awesome meal while you watch your favorite team. The Piccalilli Inn, a Jersey tradition since the 1920s. On Route 206 in Chemung. If you can't stop in, stop back.
The Piccalilli Inn.
Welcome back to the Piccalilli and Kick-Ass Fantasy Show. I'm going to open up the phone lines. We've just got a few minutes left in the show. Help you with any of your last-minute lineup help. Give us a call at 877-511-1024. If you have a Skype line, drop us a line, 347-539-5402. And, of course, you can always join us in our Kick-Ass chat room right here on Block Dog Radio. By the way, all our callers today get free wings at the Piccalilli Inn right on Route 206 in Chemung, New Jersey. You can join the professor out today. You can be eating wings, drinking ice cold beer, and watching football. So check us out at the Piccalilli on 206 in Chemung. JB, it's time to get into our studs, duds, and sleepers, my friend. I know you've been thinking long and hard about this. You had a little rough week last week, but this week you're going to turn it all around. I'm confident. Who's your stud of the week?
Well, yeah, you know what? I've gone a little bit deeper this week. I kind of, these are my true stud, duds, and sleepers of the week, but I just dug a little bit deeper. For my stud this week, I've got Stephen Ridley. Now, I really like his matchup, and he's looked good lately, and for a Patriots running back, I can see 100 yards and a touchdown out of him today.
Wow, okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. My stud of the week's got to be, and I think you mentioned you have him, Reggie Wayne versus the Pats. I looked for him to have a monster game. I like them to have 8 catches for $120 and 2 touchdowns. I think you should have no problem attaining this week. All right, that's our studs of the week. Now, JV, who's your dud of the week?
Now, my dud this week is Vernon Davis. Okay, Alex Smith is not 100% this week with that concussion, and Davis's production has been, low 5 out of the last 6 weeks. And then last week in the overtime game against St. Louis, he caught only 4 passes for 30 yards. It ain't going to get any easier this week against the Bears, and especially with a beat-up quarterback.
All right. My dud of the week is going to be LaShawn McCoy. It pains me to say it, but with Foles in there, Washington can actually stack 8 in the box against them. Plus, they're actually going against the run to begin with, so they're going to actually make Foles try to beat them, which he should do. So I think it's going to make for a long day for LaShawn McCoy. All right, that's our studs, our duds. Now let's get into our sleeper picks. JB, who's your sleeper pick of the week?
Well, my sleeper this week is going to be James Starks, who I'm upset to say I just cut him in our league about 2 weeks ago, and somebody's already picked him up, so he's gone. But he's my sleeper this week. The Pack travels to Detroit, and they face the Lions. And from everything they said, the Pack looked really ready to give Starks a lot more responsibility following their bye week. So he's had a lot of time to prepare for this, and I look for a breakout game out of him.
Starks is a great sleeper pick, JB. I agree with you 100% on that one. I'm going Danny Woodhead versus the Colts. He had 2 touchdowns last week, and he's very much in the game plan. I like him to get into the end zone again this week. So that's good stuff. All right, JB, we just got a few minutes left in the show. We have some great matchups going today. I was going to, I thought maybe if I name a matchup, we can get into a couple fantasy players that maybe some of our listeners should look out for. I know we talked about a lot of them on the show, but think of the Indianapolis Colts going up against the Patriots today. Who do you like in there fantasy-wise to do some damage?
Well, get all your regular starters in there, of course, being Luck, being Brady. Like I said, I really like Ridley today. You said you like Woodhead today, so it just has the makings for it. You know what I mean? This is just one of those games that could really be an absolute blowout. Reggie Wayne, like you just mentioned, I think he's great. Andrew Luck's great. I mean, all your regular starters. The only people that you may want to consider sitting during this game are going to be the defenses.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, JB, we're going to go back to the phone lines, and we got Jersey in the house giving us a call. Jersey, what is your question, my friend?
Hey Jersey.
Hey, guys, how you doing? What I did is I just dropped Michael Bush in my PPR because I have Forte, I have Matthews, and I have Ridley, and I have DeMarco Murray. So right now I wanted to ask you 2 questions. One is I have Forte in, and I have Ridley. Ridley's a no-brainer. Do I keep Forte in, hoping he'll get some passes that you can run on the 49ers? I do have the 49ers defense. I hear Matthews may play and start, but Denver's not bad. So do I keep Forte in, or do I go up Matthews is my first question. Then I got a quick wide receiver question. Then I'm done, guys.
I like Forte a lot this week. They're going to go Monday night. They're going to be relying a bit on the run just because, obviously, Cutler's out. And lately, you can run on the Niners. Plus, he's catching the ball really well out of the backfield. I actually like him a little bit more than Bush this week. So as far as Matthews goes, this guy's a constant walking injury, and I don't know that I could trust him at all. Because even if he plays, I think he'll be on a limited snap count. What do you think, JB?
Yeah, Forte, I actually have him inside of my top 10 this week, and like you said, he can catch the ball well. And after seeing what Steven Jackson did, very similar type of player, a big, strong, powerful guy, likes to run the ball, can catch the ball a little bit out of the backfield. I expect him to have similar success that Jackson did, and that proved to be his first 100-yard game and first touchdown of the season last week for Jackson. So, yeah, I think Forte can do pretty much the same. Don't let the Niners defense scare you.
Yeah, I didn't think so. I mean, I'm playing the 49ers defense. I have them, so I figure I can gain on one, lose on the other. So I thought Forte would be a better mix than Matthews because of you don't know how Turner's going to use Matthews and what's going on. At least Forte does get some goal line. My other question is I got Cruz on a bye. I right now have Julio Jones and Demarius Moore in my lineup because you start 2. They say Jones is going to play, but he could be limited. I just picked up, because I dropped Michael Bush, I picked up Titus Young. Do I plug Titus Young in and take a chance that he'll do better than Julio? Again, Julio normally doesn't play well at home, but did play well at home 2 weeks ago or last week or whatever, or 2 weeks ago. So do you try to take a chance on Julio, or do you pencil in Titus Young? They're both 1 o'clock games. What's your you're also playing Demarius Moore, definitely? Right. I'm playing Demarius Moore. I figure, because right now I got Demarius and Julio in. I just dropped Michael Bush to pick up Titus Young just in case, between now and 10:01 they say Jones isn't going to play for some reason. Because by 12 o'clock you got to pick up after you can't pick anybody up until next week. So I mean, if Julio plays, I think you got to play him. Okay. That's the thing. If he's playing, I think you definitely go with him. If they rule him out, then Titus Young's definitely your guy here. But you got to play Julio. I mean, I have him in about 4 of my leagues, and that's what I'm doing. He did. He was hurt last week, but he did end up coming back and playing. I do expect him to play. Okay, and that's what they're saying, because my thing is, I 2 weeks ago I sat Julio Jones, and I lost 136 to 145 because I played Demarius Moore, and Demarius Moore was supposed to be better than him on the matchup because usually Jones doesn't do anything at home. Well, Jones gave me 22 points that week. I got 12 for Damaris Moore because Myers got the 2 touchdowns and all the yardage at tight end for Oakland, and I lost by 9. I would have won by 3. So
right.
You try not to overthink, but there was a trend this year that Julio was a stud on the road and done at home. So that's why it was the ankle. You know, I want to get your feeling, but all right. So I'll keep Julio in there and ride with it and hope I win. I should, but we'll see. But I appreciate your help. Hell, and Junior wanted to know, in our PPR league, he's got James Jones, Lance Moore, and Des Bryant. Looks like Hayden is out. So right now he's got Lance Moore and Bryant in it. It's our PPR league, point, per reception, 10 points every 10 yards. If you get 100 yards, you get 5 bonus points. If you get 12 receptions, you get an extra 5 bonus points. So out of those 3, which 2 do you like? I think he has Moore and Bryant in the lineup now.
That's who I would keep in there.
Moore and Bryant. Unfortunately, that's all the time we got left, Jersey. I wish you a lot of luck, and as always, I know your teams are great. But I stick with those 2 guys, especially with Hayden now.
Yeah,
that's
keep Moore and Bryant in, absolutely. James Jones may get with Jordy Nelson in the game today and with Randall Cobb the way he's been playing, James Jones may be the one who suffers. Yep.
All right, we'll see you next week right here on Blog Talk Radio.